You're out on the trail, at a birdwatching hide, or just watching the sunset from the porch and you need something that actually works, not a glossy brochure full of numbers. You've probably already felt that itch of hesitation. What if the binoculars are too heavy, fog up after a drizzle, or just don't give you the crisp image you need for those fleeting moments? That's the real question, because a pair of 10x50s promises a lot on paper, but what matters is whether they stay reliable in the field, fit comfortably in your hands for hours, and actually justify the price tag. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of day-to-day situations where the Vortex Razor UHD 10x50 really shows its teeth. I've been using a similar setup for a couple of weekend hikes, and the first thing I notice is how the optics handle low-light scenes at dawn. The index-matched lenses spread the full color spectrum evenly, so even when the sky is a muted gray, the trees and distant hills retain a natural hue instead of turning washed out. That matters a lot for wildlife spotting, where subtle color differences can be the difference between seeing a camouflaged bird or missing it entirely. The prism design is the Abbe Koenig type, which is a bit of a hidden hero. Unlike the more common roof prisms, this design gives you a wider field of view without sacrificing eye relief. In practice, that means you can locate a flock of geese moving across the sky without hunting for the exact spot the image lands on. It also eases the strain on your eye when you're looking through them for longer periods, because the image stays bright and stable even when you tilt the binoculars slightly. Now, if you're the type who lives for the weekend camping trip but hates lugging around heavy gear, the Magnesium chassis will catch your attention. It's lighter than many competing 50mm models, yet it feels solid when you hold it. I've taken them through a sudden rainstorm, and the argon-purged, O-ring sealed housing kept the interior dry. No fogging on the lenses, no need to wipe them down with a cloth. That kind of reliability is priceless when you're trying to keep an eye on a distant elk herd while the temperature drops. On the flip side, the weight advantage comes with a subtle trade-off. Because the body is thinner, the grip isn't as cushioned as some bulkier binoculars that have rubberized barrels. If you have smaller hands or plan to hold them for extended periods without a harness, you might feel a bit of fatigue in your fingers. That's where the GlassPak Pro harness actually becomes a practical add-in. It spreads the load across your shoulder and lets you keep both hands free for trekking poles or a camera. The harness clips on securely, but you do have to adjust the straps each time you switch between left-hand and right-handed users, a small inconvenience if you share the gear. Who should definitely consider these binoculars? If you're an avid birdwatcher, a field photographer, or someone who spends a lot of time scanning horizons for wildlife, the combination of high magnification, bright optics, and weatherproof construction hits the sweet spot. The right eye diopter adjustment also lets you fine-tune each barrel for your own vision, which is something many mid-range binoculars skip. For someone who frequently hikes in damp forests or hunts near bodies of water, the lifetime waterproof claim isn't just marketing fluff, it's a real safety net. Who might want to skip them? If you're a casual backyard stargazer who only needs occasional use, the 10x magnification can actually make tracking moving objects a bit jittery, especially without a tripod. The price point is also higher than entry-level 8x42 models, so if your budget is tight and you don't need the extra reach, you could get away with a more modest pair. Also, people who prioritize extreme compactness for backpacking might find the 10x50 footprint a bit too bulky compared to 8x32s that fold down smaller. A practical weakness that shows up in real life is the focus wheel's smoothness. It's definitely smoother than older Vortex models, but under cold conditions the grease can thicken a little, making fine adjustments slower. I noticed this on a frosty morning at 5C, where I had to turn the wheel a bit more deliberately to lock focus. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's worth knowing if you often hunt in sub-zero temps. Another point to consider is the eye relief. At 10 magnification, the eye relief sits around 15mm, which is fine for most users, but if you wear glasses you might have to step your head back a little more to see the full field. The GlassPak harness helps because it holds the binoculars at a steady distance from your face, reducing the need to constantly readjust. The unlimited, unconditional lifetime VIP warranty is a strong confidence signal from Vortex. In the past, I've had a friend who broke a pair of binoculars on a mountain bike crash, and Vortex replaced them without hassle. That kind of after-sales support.